Hi boys and girls, it's Mrs. Smiley. I wanted to share another story with you. This story is called The Foolish Tortoise, and it's written by Carle and Richard Buckley. And if you've ever read The Hungry Caterpillar or some of Carle's other books, you'll like this one a lot, okay? Now if you don't know what the foolish tortoise, what some of those words mean, tortoise is another word for a type of turtle. And foolish is somebody who doesn't really make good choices. They are kind of, they make a fool of themselves, or they're kind of foolish. They make choices that aren't really that smart. So let's see what the foolish turtle does in our story. Here's our title page, The Foolish Turtle, or Tortoise. A tortoise, tired of being slow, impatient to get up and go. He's tired of being slow. Took off his large and heavy shell and left it lying where it fell. Hooray, he cried, now I've been freed. I see the world at double speed. So he's a lot quicker without that big heavy shell on. Now make a prediction. Do you think it's a good idea for the tortoise to dump his shell, or is it a bad idea? So right now make a prediction. What do you think about his choice? Though faster, he was not express, and his protection was far less. So when he heard a hornet's drone, the tortoise crept beneath a stone. A hungry bird came swooping past. He looked so fierce and he flew so fast. The tortoise hid behind some trees and felt quite weak behind the knees. So he's afraid that this hornet is going to sting him, so he's hiding under the rock, and he's afraid that this bird is definitely going to want to eat him. He doesn't have his shell to protect him, so he's hiding behind the tree. I don't feel safe. There's too much risk. If only I could be more brisk. He headed for the riverbed. A fish swam up and tortoise fled. Do you think the fish was going to try to eat him too? Oh my goodness. Along his way our hero went and almost had an accident. A snake with open jaws slid near. The tortoise backed away in fear. Do you think the tortoise would try to eat him? The snake would try to eat the tortoise? I think so too. A hare, a hound, a horse raced by. So rapidly they seemed to fly. So they were going really fast. The tortoise gasped and sat goggle-eyed. I'll never be that quick, he sighed. Yeah, those animals are pretty fast, aren't they? He wandered on. The sun rose high. I wish I had more shade, he cried. A sudden thunderstorm swept in and soaked the tortoise to the skin. So in the summer heat, he was probably getting a sunburn. He didn't have his shell to protect him. And then in the storm, he didn't have his shell to keep him dry. Aw, poor tortoise. The wind rose up, and soon the breeze was bending branches in the trees. The tortoise shivered. Now I'm cold. I wish I hadn't been so bold. So now he's cold. Look, he has no shell to keep him warm. Goodness. I think I've lost my urge to roam. I think it's time that I went home. Without my shell, I don't feel right. So when his shell came into sight, he sees his shell. He found it. What do you think he's going to do? Is he going to put it back on or leave it? What do you think he'll do? He climbed back in and said good night. And he looks nice and safe and warm and comfortable in his little shell, his house that he carries on his back. It does make him a little slower, but he learned that shell is a pretty important thing for him to have. It keeps him safe, it keeps him dry, it keeps him warm. His shell also keeps him from getting eaten by other animals. He can hide in there. So his shell was very important. Do me a favor, boys and girls, draw a picture of the foolish turtle. And I think you probably understand why the author called him foolish, okay? Write a few sentences about your turtle too. Thank you, boys and girls. Thanks for being such great listeners.